Alright, let's start with coding some switch statements in IntelliJ. Let's say we have some sort of string that holds the extension of some sort of file. And I'm going to start with PDF here. I'm going to create a switch statement that's going to check for certain extensions. So it's going to switch over the extension. So please mind that this one cannot be a boolean, but it can be a string or a byte, jar, int, etc. So we are switching over this extension by creating some case labels. And I'm going to start with docx and just print whatever it is, which is a bit less real world-like, but we'll do the trick for now and help you understand how these switch statements work. By the way, in order to get back to this case level, I need to do a shift tab because IntelliJ is not helping me with that. Let me tell you what I mean. So I do this and I go to the next line and I just do whatever and I say this is a presentation. But now I want to outdent pretty much. And if I do a backspace, I go back to the previous line. So what I do shift tab, which brings me back here and I can write case. But let me go for PDF here. What also works, if you just go to the next line, type case. I can't stand looking at it, so I do shift tab. But now it switched back automatically. And then I can say here, this is a text file. And then default will say, we don't support this file. Again, I do shift tab, but you can also just wait for it to pop back. All right, so let's see what happens if I run this code. And as you can see, it now prints all the text pretty much. Why is that? Well, this is because I did not include the break statements. Remember when I said if you don't include a break statement, it will fall through. So here's what happened. It matched with the PDF because that's the value of my string extension. And then it printed, this is a PDF file, which I actually accidentally did with printf instead of println. Which is why in the output they are on the same line. But as you can see, it also prints this is a text file because it fell through to the next case, which is not what I wanted because it's even printing. We do not support this file. So what I need to do, I need to go ahead and add all these break statements in order to avoid it from falling through. And now I have a break statement after every case, and if I run it again, you will see that now it will only print this is a PDF file. Alright, so that's how to create a switch statement. I actually want to show you one more, and in this case I'm going to use an int that's going to hold a month, and it's going to hold 1 for January, 2 for February, etc. So I'm just going to do 3, so it's going to represent March, and then in here I'm going to say month, and I'm actually not going to do print it for every month, but instead I want it to show the number of days in a month. And this is where I can actually stack the case labels, what I was talking about. So for example, January has the same number of days as March, and the same number of days as May, same number of days as July, and August, and October, and December. So what I'll print here is this month has 31 days. And then I'm going to do the same for the 30 days. So it would be case 4, case 6, case 9, case 11, and then I'm going to print this month has 30 days. And then there's one that's left out at this point, and that's for February, who's a bit weird because it has either 28 or 29 days. Okay, so if I'm going to run it, it is again going to fall through, but not in the way you would hope, because I did not add my breaks. So we want to add breaks after block. We want to have a certain fall through happening, but we don't want it to fall through after having stumbled upon the print statement, because after that we're done. So when it's case 1, we want it to fall through all the way to case 12, but then it needs to break. And as you can see, in this case, pun intended, I did not add the default option. It's not obligated. I don't want to have a default option. So this is it. Let's run it. And as you can see, it now prints this month has 31 days. Because March does. So at this point, using it for this situation, does it look like pretty code to me? No, it does not. And I would probably prefer to use an if statement for this. Having said that, that is my personal opinion. Well, it's also a bit my professional opinion, clearly. But opinions differ. In this case, I would totally have gone for the if statement. Some people like this syntax better. None of this is right, probably. I would definitely say I like the switch statement better than the if, else if, else if, else if statement. So before we end our discussion on switch statements, I actually want to admit something, and that there is nowadays a lot more possible with the switch statement. But this is a very complicated syntax and we don't need it right now, so we'll see it later. I just want to warn you that you might come across it on the internet, and then that's the syntax I'm talking about. We'll see it later when we discuss more advanced code. Next up, we're going to have a look at how to repeat code using the while loop.